What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 547 of the Fitness Business University podcast. I'm Tom Langton. I'm here with the Vince Gabriele.
Big Tom, what's up?
How you feeling today, dude?
I'm tired.
Rough weekend.
Oh, man.
Rough weekend.
I'm shot.
Today's episode, we're going to dive into this. I think this will be good for everybody. So for the people that are listening that were here in New Jersey with us, it's a good recap, right? Everybody takes a million notes, but then we're going to help sum it all up. If everybody who couldn't make it to Jersey or wanted to come and couldn't, whatever, we're gonna kind of dive into the broader themes of what happened this weekend.
Yeah, we have 3 of these events a year. 2 days a piece. They take a lot of energy and effort to plan. A lot of speaking, a lot of energy. And so, like, when I get done with these things, I mean, you too. I mean, you did a lot of work. Everyone that was there did a lot of work. But yeah, usually a couple of days after these things, we're pretty tired and shot. But it's always good to do the recaps while everything's kind of fresh in our head. So hopefully they'll get some good value from this.
Let me ask you this, a broader question. We do these events 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Your goal for a business owner, someone watching this who's never been to one, why should they come to this? Like, what do they get out of this weekend as opposed to just reading your stuff and listening to it? Why come in person?
I'll tell you a story. So one of my best friends is a guy named Brent Gallagher. Mm-hmm. And he is I think he's doing close to $3 million.
Houston, Texas.
In Houston, Texas,
yeah.
Right? Phenomenal gym owner, one of the best in the country, if not the best. Mm-hmm. And he and I, met at a mastermind group, and in person. It's actually Todd Durkin's mastermind. So we were in it together, and we, have been friends for like 15 years. The value of that friendship to me in my life, and I think he would say the same, has been absolutely extraordinary. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't go to in-person stuff with him. So I think if you ask some of the mastermind members in SPF, like some of their best friends, some of their people that they go on vacations with their families, some of the people that, hey, they're going through the deepest, darkest times in their life. Like those are the people they're calling. And I think that the in-person meetings create that environment. I don't think we're getting that if, hey, we are talking on the phone or we're on Zoom. So I think that the in-person stuff creates something way deeper than just learning content and stuff. It formulates relationships with other people that are in the fight with you. They're doing the same thing. They're not competitors of yours. They're rooting for you to win. And the friendships that it's funny, you and I, like, we've become better friends since you stopped working, right, at GFP, and you kind of like went on your own and, felt what it was like to own your own business.
For sure.
And we had the same challenges and stuff. So I think there's a lot of value from meeting in person. I think the thing,
you said it this weekend, but you've said it at a lot of the events, is like, everybody's coming to these events with a list of problems, right? Whatever's going on in their gym, even whatever's going on in their life. And when you come in that room, there's somebody in that room that has already solved that problem.
Yes.
Right? So I think that is the huge one, is like, whatever problem you're walking in with, whether it's business or a life problem, someone in that room has had that same exact thing and has already solved it and can help you with it. And like, I think that's what you got to remember, is a lot of gym owners feel alone, feel like they're on an island. You come to something like this and you realize, like, there's a lot of people like me out there that you don't necessarily see when you're in your own town or whatever.
For sure. Here's a little event, live event, tactical tip that I learned. I think I learned from Dan Kennedy, I don't remember. But he's like, show up to the event with one thing that you want to get the answer to. That if you solve that one thing, the value of going to that event was worth everything.
Right.
And so it's interesting, we'll talk about Devin Gage, but one of his guys told me, is like, the thing I want most help with is working on our close rate. Our close rate has gone from X to X, and I want to get specific advice on how, when I'm sitting down with a new client, that we can close them into a membership, because that percentage is not where I need it to be. And he came with that in his mind of like, that's what I want fixed. I was like, that is absolutely brilliant. Like, and I used him as an example for the rest of the group.
We did an exercise and
we changed it, right?
90 people in the room all brainstorming that exact topic.
Yes.
So if you come to an event like that, it's like, that's a great question. Let's see what everybody in the room probably has a really good answer for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna dive into. We're gonna kind of break down again. This will be like a recap. If you were there, grab your notes and dive in. We'll help you summarize them. If you were not there, you get a little taste of what it was like.
Yep.
So we started out Friday. You were
a little taste.
A little taste. you were the opening speaker. Now, there was kind of two big. You did kind of two talks in the beginning. First one was a little more tactical about organization as a business owner, but really as an employee as well, of like how important it is to be as organized as possible.
Yep.
So why did you decide to do that as the opener?
So the concept I talked about was a concept called Anti-Fragile. And the book that I read leading up to it, and I always am kind of like exploring all these new concepts and resources, but the guy that wrote the book saying you can be fragile, right, which is like, we don't want to be fragile, like anything, there was a lot of fragile businesses that got whisked away in COVID very quickly. And I think Devin used this as quote Warren Buffett's quotes is, when the tide goes out, you can always see who's swimming naked.
For sure.
Right? Is that the quote? Something like that? It's something like that, right? Yeah. But basically, there's a lot of businesses out there that are fragile. They're fragile with cash flow. They're fragile with single points of failure. They're fragile with they have bad employees. And if you're fragile going into an economy like this that we're in right now, the AI economy, where things are going to change so much and there's so much disruption and uncertainty, you're in trouble. And so we can't be fragile. Right. The next concept you can be is you can be strong and robust, and strong and robust is better than fragile. But a lot of times when you're strong and robust, you don't adapt, you don't change from the things that happen to you. And the last part is anti-fragile. And what anti-fragile is, you get stronger from the things that happen to you. So that was the concept, and the example and the model I used was this thing called kintsugi, which is a Japanese art. It's a Japanese pottery where they basically purposely break a bowl and then they glue the bowl back together with gold in the cracks. And what that signifies is the crack is the value. All of the value of the bowl is in the crack, is in the area where you're broken. And can you, as a business, when times are turbulent, when things are changing, when you have to adapt, when you might have to reinvent your business, can you actually use that and get stronger from that? Or do you hunker down and stay the same, or do you get destroyed by it? And so the whole concept that I taught was this anti-fragile concept. And I really, this teed up the whole event. And my first one was, how do you get your mind anti-fragile? Right, so the first part was about your mind, and the second piece was about the business. Right. So that was kind of so do you want me to just give a couple points that I made about the mind? Or?
Well, I think the quote that you said, I think at every single seminar you've ever done.
Yes.
Is what?
It's the number one chokehold of business is the psychology of the owner.
You've said it on the podcast, you've said it, and you just can say it every time.
It's mine now because I've said it.
You've said it so many times.
I've said it so many times. Tony Robbins, eat your heart out. It's mine now.
But the number one chokehold on a business is the mindset of the owner.
Yeah.
Okay, so why is the stuff you talked about beneficial to the mindset of the owner? Or how does it prevent you from having a chokehold?
Yeah. So one of the first slides I showed was cognitive behavioral therapy in one slide, right? Years and years and years of therapy, years and years of research and on the mind can be boiled down to this concept, right? You have thoughts. Those thoughts create emotions. Those emotions create your actions. That's like hard stop. Like if you can understand that concept, like you're going to be in a good spot, okay? But where does it start?
But you're not saying don't go to therapy.
No, if you need therapy, 100%.
Right.
No, I go for sure.
Yeah.
Like I have a great guy.
Yeah.
Like, but the best time to go to therapy. Here's the best time to go to therapy. Ready? When you don't need to go to therapy.
When times are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just learned that, like, because I went my first several years of life, I would go to therapy when I was like really needing it, and it was like this repair. And like now, like I really don't think I need to go. But I like still go, and it becomes this optimization thing of like you learn about yourself even on a deeper level. So it's an interesting concept to think about that. But but if you're going to understand this, so you have thoughts, you have emotions. Those emotions create your action. That is your life, right? That is your life. And so if the top is the thoughts, if the pinnacle of it is we can control the things that are going on in our minds, that's going to shape our actions. Right, because our life is shaped by our actions that we take. And so the first concept I talked about was understanding the voice inside your head. Yeah. That was the big one, right? And I've talked about this many times, and There's so many things I've learned about this voice, but I tried to this time when I taught it simplify it. And I don't know, do you remember how I simplified it?
Beautiful mind.
Well, yeah.
That was the example that stuck out to me. Was
yes, I'll tell that in a second. But
okay.
the way I simplified it was there's two different voices in your head.
Right.
There's the boss voice, and then there's the bitch voice.
Yes.
Right? And the boss voice is like, I think the boss voice is the voice of God. Right? It is the things that your ideas that you create, the good things that you go do, to go show someone gratitude, like all those thoughts are God.
Yeah.
Right? But and then the bitch voice is all the stuff that tells you you're a piece of shit, you're not going to be able to do this, you're not smart enough, right? And a lot of times what happens is people listen to the bitch voice. And so the big game changer, the point I wanted to make was that, can you hear the bitch voice? And this is where the beautiful mind comes in.
Right.
Can you hear the bitch voice and one, not believe it, and two, not react to it? And so the beautiful mind, I'll explain this. There's a movie called The Beautiful Mind, and at the entire movie, he's a schizophrenic.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the movie, skip the next couple minutes.
Yeah, right.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. Watch it.
Dude, they've had 30 years.
I know. They've had some time.
30
I just wanted. We got some young listeners.
Yeah.
So
they've had enough time.
They've had some. Andre, have you seen Beautiful Mind?
No comment.
See, he has not seen it, right? We got young people.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. But this is going to spoil the movie.
This sums up the mind, right? So the entire, when you're a schizophrenic, you're like seeing things and you're reacting to those things. And there was in the movie, there's 3 different characters that he sees all the time. And he would become like paranoid about these people, and he would freak out and like be thrown into a straitjacket. And at the very last scene of the movie, he's healed, yet he still sees the people.
They're just walking right next to him.
And they're walking right next to him, and he doesn't freak out.
Right.
And that's your thoughts. Like, can you hear shitty thoughts in your mind and be like, oh, that's just my bitch voice kind of coming. The more, and to the degree that you can tame that, man, the sky's the limit for your success.
I think where my mind went, because I still work with a lot of clients, like in kids, right? I train a lot of kids now. I think if you can grasp that concept for yourself, but also if you can teach it, especially in our industry, if you can learn how you can get it done and then teach it to your athletes or to your clients, especially like fat loss clients or kids that want to make a team or something like that, if you can teach them how to like harness those voices too, that's like makes you a much better coach with your clients. So I think it's not just in business, but it's in what we do, teaching that concept to your people, because all of our people are all struggling with the voice in their head of they can't lose weight, they can't get strong, they can't make the team, 100%. So I think that concept. So the other one, well, the things I wrote down is you got into, and this, I love how you always talk about the daily planner. Like that was a big part of it, and how that.
Yeah, and so the Daily Planner is a booklet that we give to our customers every meeting. Essentially, they get one, and it's a one-page sheet that helps them outline their day. Right now, I normally, when I've taught this, I've come from a perspective of, you want to do this because you're going to be more organized. You want to do this because you're going to get more stuff done. I changed, that is still true. Mm-hmm. I changed the reason why this is so important. And here's the reason why I made this, that planning your day the night before and writing down the things that you need to do and doing them is so important. And it becomes this. Confidence comes when you make promises to yourself and then you keep them. And then confidence is destroyed when you break them.
Right.
And it's just like the Daily Planner is that opportunity every day to sit down before you go to sit down at your desk before you go to sleep, to make promises to yourself, and then the next day you can cross out the promises that you make to yourself. Like if we want to be more confident and we want to have, if all of this success starts in the mind, and we can just do that. That's like a tool that you don't have to be like a skilled in cognitive behavioral therapy to cross off the thing that you wrote down.
Do a to-do list.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And the more, to the degree that you do it, the more confidence and belief you'll have in yourself.
And the other one that I wrote down, I do take notes during these.
Dude, you're the man. You're the best. You're the best MC on the planet.
The other one is you talked about this, and this is the first time I heard this one. Most of your stuff I've heard before, and it's kind of played out. And I'm just kidding. But this one was new that I had never heard you talk about. Was the 4?
It's been 19 years.
19 years. It's a long time. We've had a long relationship.
Yes.
The 4-quarter day. This is the first time I ever heard you talk about that.
Yeah.
And I thought this was really cool. Talk about the 4-quarter day.
Yep. So a lot of times you have something bad happen to you in your day, right? You had a fight with your wife. You had, stubbed your toe. I don't know, like crap that just happens, right? And you get to the end of your day, and you're like, that was a shit day.
Because of one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people do this.
For sure.
Right. Most of us do this. And so the 4th quarter of the day is a reframe of that, where you break your day into 4 quarters, and like the first quarter is like 6 a.m. to 10, and then the second quarter is 10 to 2, and the third quarter is 2 to 6.
Yeah.
And so you might have, in the very first thing when you woke up, had something bad happen. But then the mindset on the 4th quarter of the day is, all right, well, I got 3 more quarters to do better. I got 3 more quarters to win. If I can win the next 3 quarters in my day, I'm going to have a winning day, 3-1.
That's awesome.
That's way better.
Yeah.
And so it's a thinking tool. It's not anything other than that. But yes, I've taught that a few different times. And every time I've taught it, everyone loves it. So
It was great.
I do.
It was great. That was the first
yeah.
time I heard. It reminded me of, I've heard, I forget who was one of the Navy SEAL influencers talked about getting through training.
Right.
And they say, just make it to the next meal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Just
Very similar.
Your goal is not to make it through this 6-month course.
Yes.
Your goal is to have lunch. And if you don't quit by lunch, then you have dinner. You don't quit by dinner,
Yes.
and like that's the way you get through like really hard
What
shit.
is that from?
I can't remember which. I got to look it up. And
Because I remember reading that, because it was just like why people quit in Hell Day, right? They're thinking about
why they think of training, why they quit in training. They think about the next 16 weeks as opposed to just get to the next meal. Just get to the next meal and break it. So that reminded me of
I wish I had that in training camp at football.
For sure. For sure. I remember I had a calendar on my wall.
Oh my God.
And like you're looking.
Each day would take, it was, I never had I never had a feeling of how a day could last like a week.
So long.
That is like, it was crazy.
Yep. But that mindset of like, just get to the next meal. Just get to the next meal. And honestly, like I coach football now, so my guys that go to play in college, I give them that advice.
Oh, that's huge.
I'm like, don't quit until you have a meal.
Dude, how cool is that for those guys to be coached by you with all the wisdom that you have?
No wisdom. It's just I steal all this stuff. But to say like, make you have a good meal.
I can't even take a compliment.
Have a good meal before you quit. That's all I said to him. And like once you sit down and you have a meal because you're bullshitting with the boys, then you get to the next one. You get to the next one. So I thought the 4-quarter day was a good one. All right. The other talk you did was kind of the overarching theme, the gym of the future.
And by the way, before we do this, I had about another hour of stuff that we didn't talk about. We cut out. We talked about 5% of what I presented. So
you were fired up about that. But what you gave was awesome. The next one though, the next talk was the overarching theme of the weekend, which was you as RoboCop. That's RoboCop or Iron Man, but was the gym of the future, AI, and this is whatever we've done a couple of podcasts about this. Just touch on like why you think this was so important to talk about.
Yes, I started this talk with a quote from Jeff Bezos, and the quote from Jeff Bezos was, "What do you think the future is going to be like?" And his answer was, "I have no idea. The only thing I do know is that people are going to want stuff fast, cheap, and have a wide selection." And what my opener to this was, the caveat to all of this was, there are things that are not going to change. There are a lot of things that are going to change, but there are a lot of things that are not. And to not create what's called, I always blank on this guy's name, Alan Greenspan, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, has this quote called irrational exuberance, where people are so excited and so crazed that they just go all in on AI and all in on this. Right. There was a couple people that came up to me at the event that I was a little concerned about because they were so focused on AI and every question was about AI. I was like, hey, you do know that human beings need to train other human beings successfully for your business to be successful. Like, that is the thing, that is the critical event. So I started it with, what are the things about a business that are not going to change, that are utterly important and must not be ignored.
Right.
And quite frankly, must be enhanced and done better. And AI is a tool to help all of that stuff, but it does not replace any of those things. So I started with a word of like caution to not have this irrational, right? Yeah, irrational exuberance about AI, and realize like, it's kind of like what happened during COVID. is like they quit their brick and mortar gym and they went all in online because.
But the gyms that had that personal relationship, I think that's what we saw coming out of COVID, was the ones who had the relationship with the clients, and the clients trusted them and stayed with them and knew this was going to end. And like, listen, you're going to be there for me.
Yep.
Those are the ones. So I think it's the same thing with AI, is like that human relationship.
I call it relationship equity.
Yeah.
It's like there's money and value in the relationships that you build with other people. There's no reason why some of those people should have stayed with us during COVID.
Right.
No reason. They paid $400 a month for Zoom workouts.
For Zoom workouts, and yeah,
like,
I know, but but that relationship was so important to them.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was the relationship.
100%.
They were paying for that relationship, which they needed then more than ever.
So that's kind of how I started. It was just that, and then I got into the part of the AI. Like, I did not get nerdy at all on AI. We let Tom do that.
Not me.
I talked about not you,
Tom.
Leo. But like, so I talked about what are the areas of businesses that are really deserve and need attention. The first one I talked about was not have any parts of your business that are fragile, right? That was the first kind of point I made. It's like, hey, when you're going into uncertain times, when there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, people are now, thinking about their purchases. People are now looking at, the money that they're spending. Even if they're not losing a bunch of money, there's still fear. And when there's fear, the businesses like ours, which are not even close to a necessity, they're on the chopping block well before the grocery store. And so we want to not have a lot of things about our business that are fragile. I gave a bunch of different ones, a bunch of different examples, but the big one was single points of failure.
Right.
Like, do you have one trainer that's really, really good and you rely all on that one trainer? Do you have one marketing play that all of your leads come from this one marketing play? So trying to eliminate single points of failure was a big one. Another one's just financial. Like, it's just like, if you run out of money, you go out of business.
It's a simple one.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you have no cash or access to cash, right? So cash and access to the cash are, they're not the same, but they're similar, right? They give you a longer runway to stay in business.
For sure.
Right? And so you have cash, you have access to cash. So I went through a bunch of things, but the second thing I went through was differentiation. And I think that's going to be a big, big thing, because AI is going to really level the playing field. The content that people are getting, the people that they're posting on social, the ads that they're running, all of that levels the playing field, because everyone's going to be pulling from the same stuff.
Yeah. That was a question you asked the group. I remember, I could see in people's faces, you had them raise their hands and say, how many of you could stand up right now and in 30 seconds tell me why you're different than every other gym in your town? And a few hands like skeptically went up, and other people you could see in their, like, the wheels started spinning a little bit of like, they know, like, they think they're different, but they can't explain it.
Right.
So the ability to like really look at your business and be like, why are we different?
Right.
I think for everybody listening, that's a question. Like, can you answer that question?
Yeah, there was 100 people in the room, and I think seven
or 8 hands went up, and even those hands were kind of like they put their hands up, but they didn't want to get called. They didn't want to get called. They didn't want to get called on. They wanted to raise their hand.
You're right. They were like half raised.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I think that's a question. Is like, if you're watching this, what makes your business different, or are you just like everybody else? Are you just another gym?
Yep. Can you answer the question? And I gave 3 different ways that they could do it. I won't unpack them too much, right? But the first one was a unique selling proposition. This is basically like a one-liner elevator pitch about your business. The second one was your 3 uniques.
Right.
And that's the 3 things that are different about your business that are not the same and can't be comparable to any others. And the last one was unique mechanism, which is basically the how you do your business and how your business gets a result. Right, so those are 3. So I told them, like, based on where they're at in their business, like if they're just starting out, they're probably not going to go with a unique mechanism, right? So a elevator pitch one-liner is probably perfect, but you need some way to communicate and explain how you are different, and that becomes more important in the AI economy because of the level playing field with AI.
For sure.
Everyone's going to be pulling from the same stuff, talking about the same things, so we got to be able to differentiate ourselves.
Awesome. All right, that's enough about you. All right, well, you weren't the only speaker. Great talks in the morning, but we had a few members of the SPF that came in and did an awesome job.
Yes.
The first one, longtime member. We've known this guy since like 2011, maybe? When was the first ever mentorship?
So the first ever mentorship was 2011, right before Sandy.
Yeah.
Right. That was Kyle. I call that Kyle Newell's. Right, the first time I met Kyle.
It was in the lobby. It was in the lobby of. The lobby was smaller than this room we're in right now.
Oh yeah.
The original GFP lobby.
Yep.
How many? 8, 10 people there?
I think it was 7.
Right. And Devin Gage was one of the guys sitting there. and we tell this story of like he was selling like ballet shoes.
No, he was working in a warehouse
that stocked like ballet shoes.
Yes.
And he was doing in-home personal training. He was training at multiple different gyms.
And he had his gym.
And he had another gym.
He had a gym that he was renting that he wasn't training anybody out of.
But I think it tells you two things. One, like he has come a long way.
Oh my God.
But also he's a hustler because he needed to make money at the time, and he was willing to work, and he was working. He just wasn't. But he sat there, and now he, whatever it is, 14 years later, has 8 locations. He has X amount of full-time employees. Half of his team was here. And so you had him speak about leadership.
You know what's funny? Do you remember Bernard? We used to have this guy named Bernard who used to work for us, but he was like our GM at the time. And when we got a sign up for the mentorship back in the day, it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember him coming up to me, have you ever heard of a guy named Devin Gage? And I was like, nah, I never even heard of him. He was like, well, he just signed up for the mentorship. I was like, all right, cool. It was just like to think that like I remember that conversation with him of like before I even knew who he was to like what he's created today is absolutely incredible.
But I think the thing that has gotten him, we talked about it on the panel that we had with him, but like he's an unbelievable guy for education. Like the amount of reading he does and all that stuff. But his leadership skills, because the only way you can have 8 locations is to be a great leader.
Yes.
Because he has to have a lot of trust in the people that are working for him. So his entire talk was about leadership.
Yeah.
How to take people from, whether they're part-time trainers and put them as, CFOs, or put them as, organizational leaders, or, facility leaders. That has to be good leadership.
It did, and the talk was amazing. It was one of the best talks on leadership. I said this to the group. I was like, there's leadership talks going on all over the world right now. Yeah. I was like, you guys were in the right one. Like this was like, I can just see like these suits and these different like these very like educational, mechanical leadership. Like that was what he did, and the way he explained it was a clinic. And here's my favorite part. My favorite part is I saw the leadership in him based on the type of people that he brought.
Yeah.
So he brought 9 staff members to the event. And these staff members came up to me on the break, and these guys are like looking me in the eye and shaking my hand, and they're like, dude, thank you so much. The morning was awesome. Like, I have this, I told you before, like one of the guys said, I have this one challenge that I'm working on right now. He's asking me questions about it. Like, I felt like I was talking to a real gym owner.
Right.
Right, and these are his employees.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just like, I can always tell a gym owner that's doing well when I'm impressed by their employees. Right, that's how I know we're doing well, because I can put someone like Andres in front of other people, and he's an impressive human, an impressive person.
For sure.
That's how you know you're doing really well. So a lot of the people that you hire and the way you lead them and the way you manage them is, and full disclosure, I can't take any credit for Andres, because Mullen is the one that is leading him,
right,
and has brought him up. So I don't take any credit for it. But it's really cool to see the employees of our guys being these amazing people.
The thing that he said that stuck out to me, and I won't ruin this. If you get a chance to hear this guy talk, listen. Devin Gage is awesome, but he said something. He was right now probably the number one guy in like leadership training is Jocko Willink. He said Jocko's great, and his content is amazing. We love it. We listen to it all, right? But he said he was a leader for Navy SEALs, right? So by the time they got to him to be leaders, they'd already gone through a year of the hardest training in the world. He's like, as a business owner, especially in this business, you're not getting Navy SEALs to come work for you. He had a picture of a Navy SEAL like answering the phone at his front desk. He's like, we're not working with Navy SEALs. We're working with part-time kids just out of college, have no work experience. So like his ability to lead those and that's really was like the centerpiece of like, you got to take people from almost nothing that have no skill set and build them into facility leaders or head trainers. And
that's what I love about Devin too, because he thinks outside the box. Like he thinks about, there is this popular book, Extreme Ownership. It's just saying a lot of people just take that and want to use that and like, let me just implement this and his mindset is just like, no, like that might not work for us. Like there probably is a different way that works better for us, and that's the way he thinks. And that's what's like so impressive.
Well, he talked about like the frustration of like, why aren't these concepts that Jocko's teaching working for my team?
Right.
Because the people aren't ready for that level of stuff, and so he kind of talked about bringing it down to the level that they're at, and he did the skill versus will matrix,
will,
and it was like you said.
The thing with Devin too, and this is a shout out to a guy that works for him named Jeff, who when Devin first started working with us, he had one part-time trainer, this guy named Jeff.
Yeah.
Today they have, I think, 9 locations. They're doing multi-million dollars. Jeff is like the COO of the entire organization.
Yes, he is.
He went from a part-time trainer. It's been a lot of time, right?
Right.
But he went from a part-time trainer to the CEO of a company. That does not happen without good leadership.
100%.
So it's the thing I love about Devin is he's not just going up there and talking about it. He's living it and doing it.
For sure. So shout out to Devin Gage.
Good job, Devin.
Awesome talk.
Yep.
All right. After Devin went, we did a little exercise. This was from the desk of our buddy Joe Hashi.
Yep.
This was called the board of directors. So basically we grouped everyone together and we gave them scenarios to kind of like solve. This was a little more interactive. And we gave them some common scenarios, common issues that we see. Like one of the ones was you talked about was like your close rate had dropped from 75% to 40%. But you framed this as a board of directors. Now, why was that? Why is a board? Tell me what a board of directors is.
Yep. So board of directors, companies will hire board of directors that are not direct employees of the company, meaning they don't have the emotions and they're not like in the day-to-day. They're basically outside perspectives that are fully invested to giving the company the best advice possible.
Okay.
And so that is like a way for a company to get fresh eyes on their business to see what are the things that I don't see? What are the things that us as a team are not seeing? And so we were training our guys to be that voice, to be that that thinking process about business in general, so they can enhance and hone that skill of thinking critically about their business and how to solve problems. And so that's basically what a board of directors does, is provide a fresh perspective, which is what we do, right? Which is what we do as a mastermind.
Yeah.
But we just gave them the training and the tools to be able to do it with these different situations.
I think the thing, you kind of touched on it, is like removing the emotion. And I think that's what a lot of the business owners that we talked, a lot of people that are here this weekend have a really hard time because they're so connected to the business. They put so much of their life into it. They look at it a certain way. To remove emotion, you have to do it, but it's really, really difficult to do.
So, dude, some of my favorite, so we have the barbecue at my house, right? Some of my favorite conversations of these weekends are when someone sits down with me at the barbecue table and we're just talking.
Get a few drinks on.
And you get a few drinks. Yeah. You had a couple. You're funny.
We're all adults.
Yeah, we had a couple.
We're all adults. I'm an adult.
Your famous line of that. I had a couple.
I'm an adult. I'm an adult.
But I sat down and I don't want to talk about the problem just because it might like
specific. That's fine.
But it was just, and he even said this. He was like, I am so clearly bringing emotion into this, and he knew it. Mm-hmm. And here's the line you want to remember with emotions in business. As emotions go up, intellect goes down.
For sure.
You basically get stupider. Tom, I got no room to be stupider. Yeah. All right? I got no room for it.
It's not even a word.
Right? Yeah, it's not even a word.
It's not even a word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? But that's when your emotions go really high, you don't make good decisions. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Like me and Vanessa right now, like Joey, we are like struggling with Joey because he's like, he broke his toe.
Yeah.
So he couldn't go to training camp. So we thought we were gonna have 2 weeks with no kids, and now we got this kid that's in a boot, just like meandering around the house. He can't do shit. And we're like all angry at him and emotional about it. And we're all like pissed off. And we're being dumb as parents. We right before I came here, we had like, dude, we need to get our shit together. We are not doing a good job. Because we were bringing emotion into it, and we were making bad decisions. We were yelling at them, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? But that's the same thing in business. Like, as emotion goes up, intellect goes down. Business is shaped by the decisions you make. But the conversations that I have with people, like at the barbecue, on the breaks, they come up to me with all these different situations, and it's really cool to see them noticing. It's just like, yeah, dude, I know what the answer is. I know what to do. But sometimes I just need to tell it to you and have you provide that non-emotional answer. Sure. I knew you were going to say that. Right. I just needed the verification.
Someone else to say.
Right. Yeah.
I think that there's a rise in like the popularity of Stoicism, right? Yes. Like the Stoics, and that's kind of like the general overarching theme of Stoicism is like remove emotion, look at it very rationally. Now the hard part is that a lot of people are really successful in business because they build relationships, because they have empathy for their clients, and they build. So it's like it's a tough balance. It's not easy to do.
I will say this. I think just age and experience has a lot to do with it.
Yep.
I'm not saying it is your business, there is emotion wrapped up. That's not going to go away.
Yeah.
but I think you can learn to control your emotions enough to not make bad decisions. And so I think age and experience are paramount. And I see it in the gentleman that I was talking to was very young.
Right.
Right, he was very young. And it was clearly how much emotion he was doing versus when I talked to a 46-year-old, okay, that's lived some life.
It's a different conversation.
Right, like I this is eerie, but like, so, you know, both my parents have passed away, and it's the ultimate measure of an adult.
What's that?
Having no parents.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate measure of like, you have lived, like I have lived life, man.
Yeah.
Like you've lived through that, you've lived life. And I think some of these guys that are 25 and 26, 25 years old, they're-
happy birthday, Andres.
right?
Today's Andres' birthday.
Although, hey, the kid sitting there that's 25 years old
been through
has
some
done
shit.
something
He's been through some
none of
shit.
us have been through.
Without a doubt.
Right? Has done something none of us have been through. So I think he has accelerated,
Without
and
a
that's
doubt.
why he's so as good as he is.
100%.
Is because he's lived life.
100%.
Unfortunately, at an early age.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the board of directors.
Yeah.
Then Saturday, Leo talked.
Yeah, Leo's good.
Leo was good. Next. No.
Leo's
let's talk.
I will tell you, here's what I have to say about Leo.
Tom Leonardis.
Tom Leonardis,
What is his official title?
So he's our head of sales.
Head of sales at SPF.
But he's a coach, like he does business coaching with
Right.
us, and he is. I wish every business had a team member like Tom.
Yeah.
Like he is the guy that he's like MacGyver, where he will go and he'll you know do the AV, and then he'll come over and do a sales call, and then he'll come over and he'll coach. Like he is just that guy.
He's a
and
problem solver.
He's a problem solver,
Yep.
and he's a gamer. He gets a lot. He gets a lot done. But he's really geeked out on the AI stuff. So which is good because I'm not anti-AI, but I'm not like as much getting into the weeds as some of the other guys on my squad are. He's been getting into the weeds, and he's created all these different tools for the mastermind to use from an AI perspective. One of them being when you have a sales call with someone on the phone, he basically takes that conversation and can do all kinds of crazy stuff with the recording of that conversation.
Right.
From evaluating what you should have done, why did you ask this many questions, or why did you not, why'd you talk so much? Like your talk time was X, and your talk time should be 70% them, 30% you, and you're 70%. And there's all these different things that he's kind of creating to give our members like a ton of feedback on how to run their business with AI. So without getting into like the specifics, because some of it is complicated.
Yeah.
But the thing I'll say with Tom is like, and this is maybe the takeaway for them, you want someone on your team that is kind of geeking out on it.
For sure.
If it's not you, it should be someone that's taken it to the next level. And I like it not to be the owner, because you can then step back and be like, nope, that's taking it too far. That's like, no, that's a really good idea. You can be like the decider on what gets in and what gets out.
So business owners should hire a nerd to do the AI.
I think it's helpful. Yeah.
My biggest takeaway from watching Leo was like the AI stuff, especially in the sales, is going to be awesome. The stuff you can do, but that doesn't take away from the skill set you still need to build as a salesperson.
You still got to talk to
that's the one thing is like
Leo.
Leo.
Talk to a human,
he's
or maybe not.
Right, but he's still a great salesperson. But you got to have that skill set to use the AI properly.
Yeah.
Right. So, Leo had a great talk, and he's got a new book out.
The book, I'm blanking on the title. It's How to Sell Fitness Without Selling Your Soul.
There you
it's
go.
on Amazon. Go do Leo a solid. And
Tom
pick up this book.
Leonardis, How to Sell Fitness. Check it out on
How
Amazon.
to Sell Fitness Without Selling Your Soul on Amazon. Tom Leonardis.
He sold out this weekend. The book sold out.
He did?
The book
Well, I
sold out.
bought the last 4.
Listen, doesn't matter who bought them.
Well, it was like an asterisk. There's an asterisk next to a sellout.
That's a sellout. Okay.
Asterisk.
From the next speaker from the great state of Kansas.
Ooh.
My man Dustin Yancey. Crushed it.
Long time SPF. You want to hear the story about Dustin?
Yeah.
So Dustin, he's a gym owner from Kansas. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm going to say about this. Dustin was not doing well when he came to us. I don't want to say he wasn't doing well. He was kind of just starting out. That's kind of what he was very, very new in business.
Right.
Fast forward, I think 4 or 5 years, this guy's in our CEO mastermind. He's the one giving the most advice to other people. Like he was as green gets when he first started with us.
Right.
And now he is like, doing monster numbers and doing like an unbelievable job. So I'm super proud of this kid and how far he's taken. But he had this one thing that has generated like 50 plus clients a year. And it's basically a column.
The Johnson County Post.
Yeah, it's a column in this Johnson County Post. And he just puts out this weekly column. And at the end of the column, he has a call to action for a free trial at his gym. And people fill out that form every day. And he closes people into this membership. And he basically taught the mastermind how to do it. How to do it. Like, I believe every business listening to this has an online newspaper in their community. Like we have one, in our area. Like
the Patch.
Yeah, it's like the Patch or the what's it? Ours is called the Tap or something.
The Tap.
Like that.
Tap into.
The Tap.
Yeah.
So, but there's an online newspaper in your area
for sure,
and they're looking for content creators. But even if you have to pay for it, it's worth it if you can drive people to your website or a landing page or something. And it positions you also as somebody, right? And that's kind of one of my concepts was be somebody, right? And are you a positioned authority in your community? And having a regular column does that.
And this was like we used the term masterclass. This was a masterclass and like very tactical.
Very tactical, yeah.
And I don't know Dustin as well. He's a newer guy since I was really working with SPF, but he was nervous. Getting up in front of I got to shout him out, and I'm not trying to embarrass him, but getting up in front of that group, getting up in front of your peers and teaching business to a lot of really successful business owners is nerve-wracking, right? And we put him on the spot. We had to shuffle the speakers around a little bit in the morning. So I grabbed him. I said, "Dude, you're up in like 7 minutes," and I could see like he was a little bit like the PowerPoint wasn't ready, and he had never used the remote to move the thing, and like we had to mic him up. But he got up there and he.
Well, dude, you and I have been public speaking for how long?
Yeah, but I still get nervous.
Right, I do too. But so there's a guy that did my intro a couple masterminds ago.
Yeah.
And what the intro is, you get up there and you tell your story and you basically introduce me. That's what they do. It's 3 minutes. And the guy texted me before. He was like, "I'm shitting my pants right now."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You got to get in front of like 100 people and talk for 3 minutes."
It's different.
But it's just like it's nerve-wracking.
I still get nervous at first, like a couple minutes before you go up there. There's like the hands start shaking a little bit. I still feel it, and I could feel in dust. But I'll tell you what, he got up there and he did great. He crushed it. As soon as he got rolling, he crushed it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got rolling. He was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was good.
So after Dustin, we had Charlie Weingroff.
The man,
Charlie Weingroff.
This is
compliments. Shout out to Charlie because he left us behind. Total War energy drink.
The big thing we learned from Charlie this weekend was Total War has 365 milligrams
It's a lot of caffeine. I'm sipping this very, very slowly.
Dude, you're about to finish that.
There's nothing left. No, there's a lot left.
Oh man.
But what was your thoughts behind bringing Charlie?
Dude, Charlie's the best in the world, right? There's no one better that understands and knows training, more than Charlie. And so just whatever Charlie teaches is going to land and going to hit. And that was the biggest thing. Like I've learned so much from him over the years, and there's so many different things that I've changed about my own training, about what we've done here, that Charlie has taught us. But he's the man.
I think people say the word world class is overused.
Yeah.
Right? Charlie is legitimately world class. You can see it by the list of people he's worked with, people he's worked for. Like the dude is a who's who of like who calls him. Right. And he's not out there. He doesn't have to do much marketing.
No.
Because and I think that was like the overarching theme. The number one thing, the first thing he said was like, be really, really, really good at what you do. Yeah. And like, I think for him, he's literally, we joke, the best in the world, but he literally is probably the best guy in the world for what he does. So his marketing doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Well, and I think that kind of like, it dovetails nicely into one of the other points that I made when I was talking about what we need to do with AI, and that was become a retention-focused company.
Right.
And that is a shift, right? It's a shift from a sales and marketing-focused company to a retention-focused company where you allow and let the product do the selling. Now, I'm not saying by any means that you should stop marketing or anything, but it's like, can we get so much better at what we're doing that does drive more referrals, that does drive more word of mouth marketing? And I think sometimes people I used to say, make your product good enough. I have shifted my tune on that. I think you should make your product as absolutely as good as it possibly can be to get people not to shut up about it. And I think that is like really the focus for the next few few years.
For sure. And and Charlie's been a guy who had an influence. I mean, we knew him before he was somebody.
Oh, yeah.
But he helped us here, and he's been on the podcast before, but like he made us, just being around him and bringing him in, and like he made our business, our training, our product light years better. And he came in for a day.
It gave us a lot of confidence too. We were like, we had the best guy in the world come in and help us, and like now this is what we're doing. Like, it gave us a lot of confidence.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Charlie, every time, if you get a chance to hear this guy speak, he's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, your big takeaway. You have any big takeaways from the weekend? Anything else we want to touch on? Anything else that we didn't?
Just what I talked about email, I think we should definitely dovetail into that.
Okay, so let's talk about you did a talk about email marketing.
Yeah, I just think I look at email as, I know people are always, looking
email's
for.
Dead though, I thought.
No, email's not dead, unfortunately. Okay. That's what they say. But people are always looking for more ways to get leads. And there's a big commonality is, I'm marketing on Facebook. All my leads are coming from Facebook, and I don't know how else to get new customers from Facebook, from anywhere, and they're not doing the things that they need to do. And I think email is like this low-hanging fruit where you've already paid for the leads. Like, you've gotten the leads through community stuff, you've gotten the leads through Facebook, you've gotten the leads through referrals, and there's a whole list of people that aren't yet customers, but they raised their hand at one point and we're thinking about it,
for sure.
And they're there. And I equate it to, you have this auditorium full of people that you can get in your gym, that you can get on stage anytime you want, go and teach them something and make them an offer to come to your gym. And anytime you want to do that, you can do that for free.
Just send an email.
By sending an email, and it's just like, why don't they do it? And even my guys, my guys in SPF, they're on my email list. They see me sending an email every day. They know the power of it. They know the importance of it.
For sure.
And I was disappointed in my own group of how many goose eggs, how many 0 emails they're sending.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in it. So I was just like, dude, we got to fix this. This is such an asset that you have access to. And here's the thing. I'm not saying everyone should go AI their email, but AI has made it easier than ever to write emails, and they're still not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't want to just use AI and put out what I call AI slop with email, but it's just hey, there's a whole list of people that possibly could become customers. All we got to do is write 300 to 500 words to them, put a call to action at the end, and it's just every time you do it, you're casting your pole in the water and letting the pole sit there for a little bit. If the pole's not in the water, there's no chance of getting a new customer. And in email, the pole's in the water. And you can put a pole in the water every day.
Every day. I think when you were doing that talk about the email marketing, the personal thing that crept up on me, I remember when we were at GFP, there was a tempo at one point where we were sending an email a day, and we had you were writing one, I was writing one, we had someone writing one on training. And I remember I thought it was a pain in the ass, because you were all over us about email a week. I never
Dude, this is how many years ago?
This is 2000. We probably started in 15, 16, probably 10, 12 years
ago.
No,
we started earlier than that.
Well, you were writing them, but I'm saying when you had us, started writing them, right? So
okay.
You made me write an email a week, and you're all over my ass about it. But I remember there was a point when I was doing your consultation, or I was doing someone's first session, and they were talking to me like they kind of knew me. And I was this person, they knew my story, they knew what kind of nutritional guy, and that was what kind of brought them in, was so they had been reading our emails for 3 years.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, Tom, you played football. You did it. And I'm like, how the hell do you know this? And I didn't realize they had been reading what I wrote.
Yeah.
And they just finally came in.
Right.
So I think that's when it really clicked with me, was okay, maybe I'll do this. And well, isn't that bad?
And then here's the example I gave. And this is with this, I started with playing a video of the best Grand Slams in baseball history.
Right.
And the Grand Slams, there's nothing more exciting than a Grand Slam.
Up,
but
right?
A playoff Grand Slam, and all of a sudden, boom, you hear the crack, and then the announcer just goes crazy. You hear the crowd go nuts. And I was playing video after video, I was playing clip after clip of these Grand Slams. And here's the problem with email marketing. You think every email you send should be a Grand Slam.
No.
And what you're doing with email is you're just hitting singles.
Yeah.
Just
get
go
on
out,
base.
get up there, hit a single.
Sometimes you're just walking.
Right.
Sometimes you're just getting on base.
And so, but I think that's why a lot of people stop. Is oh, I didn't get five customers from this email. But it's what has happened? What did you just say? 3 years I was sending emails, and all of a sudden this person came in Well, they didn't come in because of a grand slam. They came in because consistently hitting a single every time. And I think that's the power of the consistency behind sending a regular email. I'm not saying people need to email every day, but I think 3 times a week is a sweet spot. And I think it's this underutilized asset that people are not using. And AI has made it easier than ever to do it, and people still aren't doing it.
And it's funny you say that because the next SPF event coming up is...
Well, yeah, because I saw that and I was just like, dude, I got to help these guys. Like, this is like something that they need to do.
Okay.
And so, yes, on September 11th, I'm doing a workshop that's specifically all about email. Like how you can take the current email game that you've got, take it to the next level. We're going to be talking about the types of emails that they should be sending. We're going to be talking about subject lines and how to write better subject lines. We're going to talk about deliverability, right? How to get more of the emails delivered and what happens if you have problems with deliverability. I'm going geeking out.
All right, so who is, for people listening to this, who is this for? Is this for somebody who's already sending emails every day or
No, it's
times a week?
both. It's both. So here's what I think it does. I think it gets someone not sending emails.
So if you're not doing this at all, you can still come to this class.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And then because a lot's changed, like I'm definitely like I've taught a bunch of these over the last few years, and I have a lot of new things. Like I've totally changed the way I write subject lines. Like I don't write subject lines like how to lose 5 pounds in 10 days. Right. Like I don't write subject lines like that anymore. So I've tweaked it the way I've done it. So a lot has changed over the years.
So somebody has already doing this and like we got it pretty dialed.
Yeah, it's not like advanced. It's not something like if you're doing 0 emails a week, you can come to this. If you're doing 3 emails a week.
This will make you better.
Yeah, I honestly think it's like half of the game is frequency.
Yeah.
Like 50% of the game is like just being there more often. It's like the law of averages, right? The law of averages states that the more you do something, the likelihood of success gets higher the more you do something. So if you go from sending 3 emails a week to 5 emails a week, if you do no change in the quality of those emails, there is a possibility that you will have a better result simply by doing more.
Just the frequency.
Right. So, I mean, so I'm super excited. I'm doing it September 11th, and I'm doing it September 11th because I partnered with a charity. So I'm donating a portion of the proceeds of the email workshop to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. So that's why I'm doing it on September 11th. It's a virtual workshop too. I got to know them. If I don't know you, I'm not inviting you into my world. So if I don't know them, they got to do it on Zoom.
Virtual, okay.
But a bunch of the guys that already signed up, they're going to come here and hang out with me while I teach it. But it will mainly be on Zoom. I'm purposely doing it on Zoom because I wanted to eliminate like more costs for people. Like there's usually costs to come to a seminar and travel and hotel and stuff like that. So I wanted to eliminate that part of it, and that's why I did it on Zoom.
1 day event.
It's a 1 day event, yeah. So it'll be a full day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so September 11th, it's coming up. Majority of the seats are taken by current SPF members. But I did want to talk about it a little bit here. I'm going to be opening up a small handful of spots to people from the outside.
How do they get? Yeah. How do they find?
There should be a link in the show. We'll put a link in the show notes for this email workshop. It'll take them to like a sales letter that'll talk about the workshop and things like that.
Awesome. How you feel? You brought a little energy today.
I'm tired. I'm gonna go take a nap.
But great job today.
Thanks, Big T.
Andres, happy birthday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week. There we go. Thanks for listening to FBU Podcast. Guys, if you got anything out of this episode, do us a favor. Hit that like button, share this episode with another fitness business owner, and subscribe to our channel. Every one of those clicks help us out a lot. And don't forget, visit vincegabriele.com for tons of free resources. There are books, downloads, everything a fitness business owner could need. Thanks again. Have a great day.